Marcus had discovered the children 6 months prior during a simple trek to collect mineral samples. They had been hiding, scared, malnourished, shivering. Their delicate bioluminescent patterns flickered in fear. They looked more like frightened forest spirits than alien children. Marcus had approached carefully, placing a sealed ration pack on the ground and backing away. Their leader, if one could call her that, was a slightly taller girl with spiraling patterns across her arms. She stepped forward, sniffed the ration, and after a long pause, tore it open with trembling fingers. The others followed. They ate desperately, messily, like they hadn't tasted food in weeks. Marcus remembered thinking, whatever happened to them must have been bad. From that day on, he brought food every dawn. The other outpost workers barely noticed. Varelian 4 was a forgotten station, used mostly for mineral scans and climate research. Everyone kept to themselves. No one asked Marcus why he woke early, why he always carried insulated containers, or why he disappeared toward the crater before the suns fully rose. Life in the outer rings encouraged privacy. Still, Marcus felt the weight of unspoken questions. Who were these kids? Where were their parents? Why were they alone? But each time he arrived, the children would greet him with their gentle chirping, their strange glowing patterns swirling across their skin like living constellations. The sight eased every question in his heart. They were safe. They were warm. They were alive. That was enough. Or so he thought. It happened on a morning that began like all the others. Marcus was stirring a fresh pot of porridge when a low rumble shook the outpost. The walls trembled. Dust cascaded from the ceiling. He rushed outside, only to freeze at the sight above him. A massive obsidian starship, larger than the entire outpost, hovered silently above the plains. Its hull was etched with luminous royal sigils. Its engines didn't roar. They resonated, vibrating the very air in shimmering waves. The entire craft looked less like a machine and more like a celestial temple carved from cosmic night. Marcus whispered, "By the suns, this was no merchant ship, no patrol vessel, no transport craft. This was a sovereign flagship, a vessel granted only to the reigning monarchs of known space." As he watched, a piercing light shot downward, scanning the settlement. Then the ship repositioned, redirecting toward the crater, the children's hiding place. Marcus's blood ran cold. Without thinking, he grabbed the containers of food and sprinted across the plains, lungs burning as he fought to keep pace with the ship's slow descent. By the time he reached the crater, the children were huddled together, trembling as the flagship's landing thrusters sent whirlwinds of dust spiraling around them. A ramp extended. Boots touched the ground, 6 armored guards with halberd-like plasma pikes. Behind them, in flowing navy and silver robes, walked a tall woman whose presence alone seemed to shape gravity. Her skin shimmered like the night nebulae. Her eyes glowed with ancient intelligence. And circling around her wrists floated shifting glyphs of command, symbols only one person in the universe was allowed to bear. It was her, the celestial Empress Lyriana Vorth, ruler of the galaxy, mother of stars, sovereign of the infinite dominion. Marcus dropped the containers. The lids clattered open, porridge spilling across the ground. The Empress approached the trembling children, and to Marcus's shock, she didn't bark orders or command soldiers. She ran. She ran to them with a cry that shattered her regal composure. She knelt, pulling all 5 into her arms as glowing tears streamed down her face, marking her cheeks with streaks of stardust. "My babies," she whispered in a language Marcus didn't understand, but somehow fully felt. "My lost little sons." The children clung to her with desperate chirps. Marcus stood frozen. These kids, these starving little runaways, were heirs. A guard lifted his weapon toward Marcus, but the Empress raised a hand. "Leave him." The guard instantly obeyed. Lyriana turned toward Marcus, her glowing eyes soft but immeasurably powerful. You fed them. It wasn't a question. Marcus swallowed. They were alone, scared, hungry. I just did what anyone would have done. Not anyone, she replied. You gave without knowing who they were, without demanding anything in return. She studied him, truly seeing him in a way that made him feel transparent. For half a year, she continued, you sustained the heirs to the Vorthian dominion. You kept them alive when even I could not reach them. Marcus's breath stalled. Heirs, as in royal heirs. The Empress gestured, and one of the children, a small boy with silver eyes, ran to Marcus and pressed his forehead against Marcus's chest in gratitude. The Empress watched silently, emotion flickering across her celestial gaze. You must come with us, she said. Marcus blinked. What? No, I can't. This is your family. I'm just a mechanic. I don't belong on a royal star temple, or whatever that is. The Empress stepped closer, her presence warm and strangely grounding. You cared for them when the galaxy failed them. That makes you family by our traditions. You will not be left behind. Marcus looked at the children, the little ones he had worried about, cooked for, protected. Their glowing eyes begged him to follow. Marcus agreed, and soon he found himself aboard the Empress's colossal flagship, its shining halls, floating lights, and starlit corridors unlike anything he had ever imagined. The children held tightly to his hands, proudly guiding him through their celestial home. Over the following weeks, Marcus learned the truth. The children had escaped during a failed coup, their escape pod drifting until it crash-landed on Varelian 4. They survived because he fed them, because he cared. Grateful beyond measure, the Empress appointed Marcus as an advisor in compassion and humanitarian aid. Despite the sudden titles and respect, he remained the same humble man who woke early to cook breakfast. And the children insisted he continue that tradition, even in the royal kitchen. Sometimes, the Empress herself joined them, smiling as her children devoured the meals Marcus prepared. What began as a quiet routine in an abandoned outpost had become something far greater. Marcus finally had purpose. He had family. He had a home among the stars. And every dawn, no matter where the royal fleet traveled, he kept the ritual alive, serving breakfast to the children who changed his life just as he had changed theirs.